Hello everyone. Welcome to Turkish series stars. All the details are coming up in this video. If you enjoy it, I'd love it if you like and subscribe to Turkish series stars. You can support me even more by clicking the join button below. Thank you, and now let's watch the video. For years, Barış Baktas kept a respectful distance from questions about his private life. Whenever reporters tried to nudge him toward romance talk, he would steer the conversation back to work with a polite smile. And then, without warning, that measured silence finally cracked. In a television interview that no one saw coming, he chose to open up about his past with Yağmur, his former girlfriend and co-star in the hit drama that first made their names inseparable in the eyes of viewers. His words struck like a bolt of lightning across the Turkish press, reviving a story that, despite ending years ago, never really left the public's heart. When the host asked why that great love never led to marriage, Barış paused, clearly gathering his thoughts before he spoke. "We talked seriously about it," he admitted. "We even circled dates on the calendar. But she was moving at full speed with her career. She worried that settling down would slow her momentum. We kept saying, let's finish this project and then decide, but those projects just kept coming." The silence afterward said everything. For the first time, a man known for guarding his feelings had let the cameras see what he'd carried for so long. Those sentences triggered a surge of comments, speculation, and wistful memories. People instantly remembered the days when Barış and Yağmur were the couple everyone rooted for. Their on-screen spark felt so real that it leaped off the set and into their lives, and fans followed every whisper of their romance like a live fairy tale. But, as so often happens, real life didn't bend to the script. "I loved her with my whole heart," Barış continued. "I respect her beyond words. But sometimes love on its own isn't enough. If two people can't hold on to the same dream, that dream fades." The sentiment rippled across social media like a bittersweet refrain. Some viewers heard the ache of lingering love in his voice. Others felt it was a necessary release, a farewell that took years to put into words. Within hours, headlines flooded timelines. Barış Baktas still carries a torch for Yağmur, the most revealing confession of the year, love paused by ambition? Meanwhile, Yağmur stayed quiet. Those close to her say she felt uneasy seeing such personal memories surface. "It doesn't feel right to discuss these private matters," she reportedly confided in a close circle. But as often happens, her restraint only stirred more curiosity. Friends of Barış insisted his decision to speak wasn't rash. He had been reflecting for a long time and felt he finally needed to close that door gently. "I'm proud of her achievements," he was said to have told a friend. "Sometimes I wonder if meeting a little earlier or later would have changed everything." It didn't sound like blame. It sounded like the sadness of someone who understands that timing, not a lack of love, can be the truest antagonist. Back when they were together, they seemed inseparable. Paparazzi practically marked their steps, magazines loved their photos, always luminous, always tender. They were young, determined, full of promise, a modern pair whose romance felt like a mirror for a new generation. Yet as the spotlight intensified, their schedules and distance did too. Yağmur threw herself into work, taking on back-to-back projects, landing brand deals, and stepping into opportunities that opened doors far beyond Turkey. Barış, by contrast, turned inward for a while. He chased new creative challenges, and, as whispers had it, tried to fill an emptiness he struggled to name. A source close to the actor shared that after the breakup, Barış took a step away from the noise. He traveled to reset, focused on training, tried to find balance in routine and quiet mornings. He never spoke ill of her. He never denied that what they had mattered. It was simply clear he was still sorting through the wreckage of what might have been. Yağmur, on the other hand, poured everything into her craft. Her focus, work ethic, and grace under pressure earned her the admiration of peers and audiences alike. Time moved forward. They each found new paths. And yet the shadow of that love lingered. Every time their old series aired again, A rush of nostalgia washed over social media. Fans claimed they could still see the spark in a glance or a half-smile. Requests for a reunion flooded comment sections. Some people never gave up on the idea that they might find their way back. And then came his recent confession, and the past felt suddenly close enough to touch. Online, opinions split. "He still loves her, it's obvious," one person wrote. Another countered, "Yağmur did the right thing by prioritizing her goals. No one should have to shrink their dreams for a relationship." The debate went viral, not just about them, but about the eternal tug-of-war between love and ambition. Beneath the headlines and hot takes, though, sits a story that rings deeply human. Two ambitious people fell in love, and were swept up by a pace of life that neither could slow. "We were always on the move," Barış said in that interview, his voice growing quiet. "Always running from set to set, from meeting to meeting. We forgot to stand still and just breathe." So many viewers recognized themselves in those words. It's hard to align two lives hurtling toward different horizons. Some took his confession as a sign of a possible new chapter. But those who know them both insist their story now belongs to the past. Sources say Yağmur is fully committed to her new series opposite a top-billed leading man, while Barış prepares to step onto an international stage with projects that could take him across Europe. Even with the momentum of new work, the echo of what they shared doesn't easily fade. One of Yağmur's friends claims that, every so often, between takes, she replays old scenes quietly on her phone. She doesn't say much. She doesn't have to. The look in her eyes says it was a chapter that shaped her. There are loves that never entirely disappear. They don't ache the way they once did, but they remain, like soft scars or familiar songs that still catch in your throat when you hear them by surprise. Here at Turkish Series Stars, we want to hear from you. Could the love between Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktas ever find its way back, given time and different circumstances? Or was it the kind of beautiful story that needed to end so each could grow into who they were meant to be? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe to Turkish Series Stars so you never miss the most captivating updates from the Turkish entertainment world. Hit the bell, and if you'd like to support our work, consider joining the Turkish Series Stars community, where we share exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights you won't find anywhere else. Because at the heart of it, this isn't just a tale about two actors. It's a mirror for thousands who have stood at the crossroads between a once-in-a-lifetime love and a once-in-a-lifetime dream. Maybe that's why his words made such an impact. They didn't land like gossip. They felt like the confession of a man who, looking back, realized that some loves don't collapse, they evolve into something quieter, a guide for who you become. Barış and Yağmur etched themselves into a moment in time, showing that screen chemistry can spill beyond the frame, even after the director calls cut. They were the pair that many people believed in, not just for the glamour, but for the recognizable tenderness that flickered between them in unguarded moments. Fame can stack obstacles no one anticipates: missed dinners, canceled trips, weary conversations squeezed into car rides, and promises to talk later that get buried under scripts and flights. It wasn't betrayal that undid them. It was accumulation of hours, distances, and deadlines. If timing was the quiet antagonist, the ending wasn't a defeat so much as a surrender to reality. Still, there's grace in the way they've carried it. He chose honesty without bitterness. She chose privacy without indifference. And perhaps that's why their story feels so enduring. Even as their careers climb, even as new names join the cast of their lives, the memory of what they were together stays threaded through the public's imagination. Whenever an old interview resurfaces, or a photo from their early days pops up, the comments fill with what-ifs. People remember the laughter on set, the shy looks at premieres, the way their hands seemed to find each other without effort. They remember because they wanted it to last, not just for them, but for what it said about the possibility that two demanding destinies could still walk side by side. Today, they are moving forward. Yağmur continues to stretch as an artist, pushing herself into new emotional territories on screen, while building a presence that resonates beyond borders. Barış is mapping out the bold next phase of his career, looking toward projects that will challenge him and put him on stages he's dreamed about since his earliest days. They are, in their different ways, exactly where ambition promised they could be. And yet, when you listen to him speak, you hear the humility of someone who understands that success and love, while not mutually exclusive, require a rare alignment of hours, hearts, and hopes that doesn't come along every day. So where does that leave the two of them, and all of us who watched? It leaves a story that didn't end with a perfect bow, but with dignity. It leaves two people who became more fully themselves, carrying what they learned and who they loved into whatever comes next. It leaves us with a reminder that even the most dazzling romances don't fail simply because they stop. Sometimes they complete their purpose, leaving warmth in their wake. And in that warmth, new dreams can be born. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye from Turkish series stars.